Hello, everyone. Today I'm very excited to share with you this first episode of my podcast, or I don't know how I want to call it this podcast yet, but I just want to be out there. So I decided to, use, you know what, Charles, go for it. So that's why I'm here today. And basically, I really want to share with you my observation and my point of view of research. And the reasons why I want to start this is also to have different opinions worldwide and maybe share discussions and do debates. So why not? So let's go for that. And the goal of this podcast is not only to say how amazing research is, but also to be observant of everything that is happening around. And we will have juicy topics like, well, what will happen if AI intelligence, artificial intelligence, will take over the scientists? It's already happening with artists now, and I would say the closest thing to art is science. So if artists, the AI is managing to do amazing digital paints, drawings, even writing scripts and stories, the next people targeted will be scientists. So this is like a very fun debate that might open the eyes to everyone, like what's will happen about that, but also like very maybe taboo topic about competition in science and how this could lead to toxicity. So masters and PhD students are aware of what they should expect. We all have this perception of research when we enter the academic world, but there's a totally different reality that when you start, you should also know of. So something that I really recommend is before you enter a lab, really ask the good questions to the good persons, not only the lab itself and the lab members themselves, but also maybe neighboring labs and like labs around you. You might be shocked about some reality. You might hear about those people in labs. No, we are all humans. I don't think necessarily all those reality that you hear are shocking in a bad way. You might be just surprised of the behavior of some people. So you should also have your expectation and be aware of those, so you know how to react and how to behave in those situations. And topics like, is because here I'm living in Canada and I'm really curious about the reality of other countries and in other continents, is the how government really lack the motivation to funding research. Because here in Canada, if you're not aware of, for the past 20 years, the amount the government take for funding hasn't moved. So it's really scary to say, with the all the advances we have, all the inflation rates, etc., that the past 20 years the government didn't adapt their fundings, which, by the way, fundings are there to pay PhD master students for their research in academia. So it's a very scary topic also. Another one is a bit of this freedom that we have in academia. And because of the last topic, of funding, is this freedom in research lost in academia because more and more people rely on partnership with privates so they can sustain the lab. And one issue I see with that is that first, the private is, have their own agenda. So is that coming to bias, the freedom we have in the academia? And second is I really find it derogating that if you do a collaboration with a private, and I had this discussion with a dear friend of mine that is currently in Toronto, that the people in the private will probably get paid 3 to 4 times more than the person in the public space in academia. So this also is a dangerous, situation where the private is trying to find cheap labor in the academic world. So this is also something that needs to be open. We need to open our eyes to, and discuss that. And by itself, something I really learned the hard way is this notion of safety, or this illusion of safety we have in academia, because you think this is the most secure path for future career, but from what I see is there's a lot of people leaving their masters, their PhD degrees, and this is like shocking to me. Like, how can you abandon those people? uh you know for me it's just shocking to say, okay, academia is not fit for you, so you're leaving. But what I found shocking is there's no notion of help, to help those people. But I also, have like we will be paradoxal here in our discussions, because I also feel that there might be a lot of people and wrong people in academia also. So, um, and I feel that the good ones leave because of the wrong one that are there. So yeah, those are like topics we don't really abord a lot, but I feel we need to open our eyes to. And before actually launching this podcast here, uh, I also have a very cool podcast called Exploring Humans with my friend Priscilla. But this one is, on a more slow paced. And I really wanted to try to make content as often as possible. So I decided to create this space so we can also discuss, but also help each other. And, you know, one of the difficulty I faced is that my dear PhD advisor felt very ill for a long period of time, and there's nothing, not as even a system to help me. So, and I don't think I'm the only person in that situation, but it's actually also a reality of people, that when the independent researcher, the PhD advisor, or the PI, we call them, they have different names, the professor in charge of the lab, they fell severely ill. There's, not a system to back you up, to help you. So this is like also a reality that, yeah, we might have a sense of safety, but it's actually an illusion. And yeah, another fact that we might also discuss here is how scientists are perceived by our society. And I just want to remind myself of this very cool video that I saw, and I shared the story. If you follow me on Instagram, about figure of authorities and science being a figure of authorities, we see that those newer generations of people, the young ones, tend to believe less and less in science, and I feel this is very dangerous. And as scientists, we need to maybe change our way of doing things to just not focus on the science part, but also on what's happening outside. You can be in your bubble, creating amazing things, discovering amazing uh, stuff about how life work, maybe curing cancer. But if the outside world is not receptive to you, you might just also have failed your mission of trying to uh, make the world a better place. So yeah, I would say this is it for the first episode. I would like to share my vision and my opinions of and my observation of our society, how academia work, how amazing academia might be, how terrifying academia might be, how academia is modulated, or how academia is influenced by the private and other things, and how society perceive research. And yeah, this is my first episode for you. So if you think you like those topics, feel free to let me know which one should start with. If you have your own, opinion, maybe you can come here. You can be, my invited speaker. I'm your host, Charles, and see you in the next one. And yeah, so today, my message to you is be yourself. Like, this is why I have launched my journey on into creating a space like this. Uh, some might call it a safe space, but also I really want to challenge my thoughts with others and have debates, because I feel it's important that some things change in that sphere of research and academia. Because if you this thing that happened is that uh, you know it's either society change you or you change society. So it's hard to be yourself, seeing all what's happening in the world, all this negativity, how other in your workspace might influence you. But I would say stick to your values and be yourself, and eventually you will reshape the world the way you see it initially. So yeah, that's it. That's it. So I'm gonna call it a day for today. Good job, everyone. Yay!